Okay, good morning. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Good morning. I would like to call the Niagara Regional Police Service Board public meeting to order for February 26, 2026. And I'll start with the roll call. Vice Chair Kiokio.
Present.
Member Gibson.
Present.
Member McKendrick.
Here.
Member Steele.
Here.
And Member Yip sends her regrets. We begin the meeting this morning by acknowledging the Niagara region is situated on treaty land. This land is steeped in the rich history of the First Nations, such as the Hattuwendurrung, the Haudenosaunee, and the Anishinaabe, including the Mississauga of the Credit First Nation. There are many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people from across Turtle Island that live and work in Niagara today. The Regional Municipality of Niagara Police Service Board stands with all Indigenous people, past and present, in promoting the wise stewardship of the lands on which we live. At this point, I'd like to ask if there's any conflicts of interest or pecuniary interest from the members. I would like to declare conflict of interest on item 10.10, the special fund request February 2026. Move on to the adoption of the minutes of the previous meeting. Minutes of the public board meeting held Thursday, January 22, 2026, moved by Vice Chair Kiokio and seconded by Member Gibson. Any questions or comments on the minutes? Chair, Chief? That the minutes be moved, the minutes of the public board meeting held Thursday, January 22, 2026 be adopted as circulated. All in favor? Seeing none opposed, motion is carried. Our reports from the board chair. NRPS Long-Term Service Awards Ceremony. On January 23, board members and staff joined the Niagara Regional Police Service, the Senior Officers Association, and the Niagara Region Police Association at a long-term service awards ceremony to recognize currently serving members and retirees for their invaluable contributions made to the service and the Niagara community. On January 28th, I attended the Chiefs Leadership Team meeting with special guest, the Honorable Michael Kersner, Solicitor General. Minister Kersner spoke about provincial policing priorities and initiatives to strengthen public safety across Ontario. On January 29th, the service held a recruit swearing-in ceremony to welcome 22 new recruit members of the Niagara Regional Police Service and one currently serving police officer. Vice Chair Kiokio, members Gibson and McKendrick, and I attended the event where we had the opportunity to congratulate the officers and meet with members of the families. On February 11th, the Welland Heritage Council and Multicultural hosted an event titled Honoring Our Past, Empowering Our Youth, Supporting Black Students on Their Journey Towards Post-Secondary Success. Member Gibson attended alongside members of the service in support of this important initiative. The board acknowledges that Black History Month provides an opportunity to recognize the strength, resilience, and leadership of the Black communities and to reaffirm our shared commitment to advancing equity and inclusion. On February 18, the service, in partnership with the City of Welland, hosted a community meeting for residents within the immediate closure area of the December 19, 2025 police standoff. The meeting provided an opportunity to hear community feedback and discuss steps to support and strengthen the affected neighborhood. Vice Chair Kiokio, Member McKendrick, and I attended the event. On February 23, I joined Chief Forty at West Lincoln's Town Council meeting for a presentation about NRPS policing programs, calls for service, emerging issues, and the service's ongoing efforts in crime prevention and community engagement. Members of West Lincoln's Town Council had an opportunity to ask questions and address any community safety concerns impacting West Lincoln. On February 24 and 25, the Police Association of Ontario, in partnership with the Ontario Association of Chiefs of Police and the Ontario Association of Police Service Boards, hosted their annual police employment conference in Toronto. Discussions focused on a variety of topics, including the Community Safety and Police Acts and workplace issues, collective bargaining developments, disability accommodation, workplace safety insurance board, return to work policies, and human rights in the workplace. Vice Chair Kiokio, members Gibson, McKendrick, and I, as well as Executive Director Reed, and Board Solicitor McCaig attended the conference. On February 27, Niagara Regional Board Chair Bob Gale will deliver his first annual State of the Region address at the Sheraton Falls View in Niagara Falls. Vice Chair Kyo, Executive Director Reed, and I will join Chief Fordy and members of his executive leadership team at the event. On March 2, the NRPS Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Unit will be hosting a drumming circle workshop at police headquarters in the community room from 10 to 11. Participants will explore the powerful rhythms of the West African djembe drum in a hands-on engaging experience and be introduced to drumming techniques, rhythmic patterns, and the cultural significance of drumming in West African traditions. Members interested in attending are asked to confirm with board staff by February 27th. On March 3 and 4, the Hamilton Police Service Board will host a Big 12 Chairs and Executive Directors meeting representing the 12 largest police service boards in Ontario. The agenda includes a presentation by Ryan Teschner, Inspector General of Policing, and group discussions on the Community Safety and Policing Act and related governance matters, the evolving roles and responsibilities of boards and their staff, legislative requirements, and emerging challenges. Executive Director Reed and I will be attending the meeting. On March 19, Welland Mayor Frank Campion will host his annual fundraiser breakfast at the Casa Dante restaurant in Welland. This year's event will support the Open Arms Mission, a volunteer-driven organization that provides food, personal care, and other items to Welland community members who are in need of support. Vice Chair Kyo and Member McKendrick will attend the event on behalf of the board. On March 23 and 24, the Canadian Association of Police Governance will host a two-day virtual summit. Summit discussions will include key topics designed to empower police board members with tools needed for excellence in governance. Members interested in attending the summit are asked to confirm with board staff. On March 25, Gillian's Place will host a breakfast event aimed at ending gender-based violence. The breakfast is being held in St. Catharines at Club Roma in the Starlight Room beginning at 8 a.m. Board members interested in attending are asked to confirm with board staff by March 9th. The Canadian Association of Police Governance hosts regular webinars as part of its educational strategy to keep police boards and police executives across Canada informed on emerging issues in policing. Board members participate regularly with sessions focused on current policing matters, board governance roles and responsibilities, legislative and policy updates, risk management and oversight, and best practices in police governance. Recordings are also shared with board members to support ongoing governance and education. The next scheduled committee meeting date is Thursday, March 12, 2026, and the next board meeting is scheduled for Thursday, March 26, 9:30 a.m. in the community room at the police headquarters. Chief, I'm going to ask you to give your report, please.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning. I would like to start by also recognizing February as Black History Month. The Niagara region holds a vital place in Black history in Canada as a key endpoint of the Underground Railroad. It was where thousands of freedom seekers crossed from the United States in pursuit of safety and a new life. Today, numerous historic sites across the region stand as powerful reminders of this legacy and of the profound contributions the Black community has made to both our region and our country more broadly. We have been involved in several events this month to recognize Black History Month. I'll reference a couple. On February 10th, our EDI members attended the DEI Community of Practice meeting hosted by the Niagara region and Niagara College. The topic was Black History Month, 3 decades of Black history in Niagara, and it was presented by our friend Rochelle Bush, who has presented to our executive leadership team on previous occasions. On February 11th, many members of the service, as you referenced, attended an event. Deputy Chief Greco and Laguteria attended a Black History event titled Honoring Our Past, Empowering Our Youth, hosted by the Welland Heritage Council and Multicultural Center. It was a great experience featuring songs, dancing, and keynote speaker Dr. Charles Conte from Brock University, where he delivered a powerful message. And I would like to thank the board for contributing through the special fund to a scholarship recipient that was selected as part of this event. On February 24th, earlier this week, we held a Chiefs Inclusion Council meeting, and we welcomed Sonia Amy, Executive Director of a nonprofit agency, Africa Women Acting. The director shared with us how the organization fosters African culture in Niagara and also Toronto and more broadly, and the ways in which we can celebrate and recognize Black history all year long. And as you referenced, she'll be returning to our headquarters next week to host an African drumming circle workshop on March the 2nd. Our members will be able to explore the powerful rhythms of the West African djembe drum in a hands-on lesson. And I'm led to believe through discussions with Inspector Gomez that he's an accomplished drummer and looks forward to some learning opportunities. We also recognize Ramadan from February 17th to March 19th as Muslims foster spiritual discipline, inspiring self-reflection, and increasing empathy and kindness. As you know, the Costuant First Nation community has been displaced. We have more than 1,000 evacuees in Niagara, with the possibility of more evacuees coming to us in the next few weeks due to the anticipated changing climate and corresponding flooding. We are engaged with the community, providing support through our Indigenous liaison officers and ongoing constant liaisons with the Fort Erie Native Friendship Center. Deputy Chiefs Lagrataria and Greco, Staff Sergeant Jeff Bootsma, have also met with the leaders from the community to discuss the situation and ensure that we are as supportive as we can be. Our One District Community Response and Engagement Unit, also known as CORE, has continued with bail compliance enforcement. During the months of December and January, their focus resulted in 7 arrests for breaches of court-related conditions. I would also now like to highlight the importance of working collaboratively with our law enforcement partners by referencing 2 specific examples. In 1978, a 22-year-old man went missing from his home in Toronto. In 1979, the remains of a male were discovered on the shoreline of Lake Ontario in Oswego, New York. Almost 50 years later, through the collaborative efforts of the Oswego Police and the County Sheriff's Department, the Toronto Police, and our service, led by the Missing Persons Unit Detective Constable Sarah Mummery, the male was identified through DNA, and it was determined that there were no signs of foul play. This work has given the family closure and is indicative of how we continue to support families, assist them in the most tragic circumstances that any family member can ever have. On February 10th, we hosted the OACP Zone 4 meeting as we work in partnership with our partner police services across the region. On February 18th, as you referenced, Chair, we attended with the board and with senior leaders and several members of our service, including Brandy Sand, who you're going to hear from later today, attended Welland with members of Welland City Council and staff to help rebuild the community after a series of events there, in particular the police-involved shooting with our members. And during that meeting, we referenced the fact that there was an ongoing SIU investigation and there was a prosecution that we wanted to maintain the integrity of. So we were somewhat limited in the details we could share with the community. In an effort to safeguard that prosecution, even me as the chief of police, I don't have the intimate details of the shooting. It has been widely reported in the media that we had one female who was shot, but I can say that we had several police officers that acted courageously, that demonstrated all the best qualities, all the training that we would hope to see in our officers. And even as we sit here today, it's important, I think, that we work with the community and we demonstrate our support for the community on one hand. On the other hand, we find ourselves in a situation where we are trying to maintain the integrity of the prosecution, but we want to also, we look forward to recognizing the bravery of our members and to being able to really support them in the best way we can. So we spoke about that in general terms at the Welland community meeting, and I just wanted to take that opportunity here to amplify those comments again. Another example that I would like to share of working collaboratively was, you will recall Project Road King. It's a joint force operation by our service whereby we're working with the RCMP CFSEU, which includes members from the Hamilton Police Service, the Brantford Police Service, the CBSA, obviously Niagara Police. And since that arrest and very public press conference, our investigators have continued to work with that group and the Halton Police Service. And this week we announced the arrest of charges of 4 individuals, the arrest of 3, the recovery of 43 stolen vehicles at a port in British Columbia. And the vehicles were destined for abroad. They were destined for China, Dubai, and Africa. It underscores the value of integration and of working with our partner agencies. It's an excellent example of an investigation that originated in Niagara, moved to partner agencies, and we have continued to be a leader within it as well. Moving over to more broad community engagement, on January 22nd, our EDI unit attended Niagara College campuses in Niagara-on-the-Lake and Welland for their student orientation fairs, which included many international students. We met with new students to discuss the services offered by the EDI unit and our service in general. On January 23rd, we held our long-term service awards to recognize and honor our members and their families for their achievements and dedication to service. On January 27th, we attended Brock University for a presentation by Dr. Heidi Wald of Brown's University as part of the International Holocaust Remembrance Day program. As you mentioned, on January 29th, we held a graduation here in the community room, and we welcomed 22 new members to our team and 1 currently serving police officer. On February 1st, members of the EDI unit attended the Islamic Society of St. Catherine's for World Hijab Day celebration. On February 6th, we attended Mayor Sisko's Pancake Breakfast in support of community care. On February 7th, Deputy Chief Lagutera and Waslovich attended the Heroes from 1812 dinner in Niagara-on-the-Lake that raised funds for youth employment at Brock's Monument in Fort George. On February 11th, we also had members of our EDI unit at a special gathering to honor missing and murdered Indigenous women, girls, and Two-Spirit people. That was hosted by Brock University. On February 12th, our EDI unit attended a Special Olympics event in St. Paul High School in Niagara Falls to support athletes and help develop connections with both the students and the staff. The same day, CORE and EDI unit members attended the Fort Erie Native Friendship Center to tour the site and to learn about the programs they offer as we work together to better serve the community. On February 17th, students from Brock University and Niagara College attended our headquarters here for a unique learning experience. The students received presentations from various units across the service, including CORE, our polygraph unit, our COAST and member support units as well. On February 20th, the EDI unit met with staff at Bridges Niagara Multicultural Center and toured their site. They engaged with program managers and coordinators discussing how the service in Bridges Niagara can support Niagara's newcomer community. On February 22nd, members of the EDI unit attended Iftar, the evening meal that breaks the daily fast during Ramadan at the Islamic Society of Niagara Peninsula Mosque, hosted by the Muslim Senior Circle, Niagara. On February 23rd, Chair, as you referenced, we attended Lincoln City Council. We were joined there by Staff Sergeant Dylan Bourgeois, Deputy Chief Lagrateria, Manager Stephanie Sabrin. At that meeting, Staff Sergeant Bourgeois highlighted our efforts in addressing community safety and well-being, and we invited and had discussions on any questions or concerns that they might have. It was a very productive meeting. Our members continue to volunteer at the Out of the Cold program that assists the Knox Presbyterian Church in St. Catharines, distributing food to those in need and helping vulnerable persons in our community. I can also share there will be a media release going out tomorrow, barring any developments. I'm knocking on wood. After significant efforts to mobilize and modernize our communications unit, we are poised to transition to Next Generation 911. That is currently scheduled for March 4th. Next Generation 911 is a system that will modernize Niagara's 911 call-taking abilities, enhance public safety by providing richer data and improving our ability to serve our community. I would like to acknowledge the leadership of Director School, Superintendent Nesbitt, tireless work of their teams, Deputy Chief Waslovich, countless people that have invested significant energies in this undertaking, working with our partners from St. Catharines Fire, Niagara Parks Police, and the region. So it's a significant milestone that we're knocking on the door of for next week, again, barring any significant changes. And finally, Chair, many of our members are in the midst of the 8-week challenge that our Wellness Committee has offered. The challenge is focused on supporting members so that they can feel their best through living a healthy lifestyle and nutrition, eating properly. I'll conclude my comments there, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. We've got a presentation today from the Member Support Unit. So, Chief, I'll ask you to please present the speaker.
Thank you, Chair. It's my pleasure to introduce our clinician, I see you're back there, Brandy Sand. As I referenced earlier, Brandy has been a tremendous addition to our organization, both inside the organization and externally dealing with partner agencies, and we saw her last week in Welland. So, Brandy, thank you for being here today to do your presentation.
Thank you, Chief, and good morning, everybody. And through you, Chair, I'm really hoping that what you take away today is the passion that we have in member support for our members. You invited me last year to come back, and you had some really good questions that I was intentional to put in my presentation today. So I will invite you at the end to ask further discussions, but I'm hoping that addresses what you asked me last year as well. So as you see, our mission here is really about our strategic plan, but member wellness and resiliency. So we are here to promote a culture of resiliency characterized by an anti-stigma and mental health literacy. We offer various wellness programs and services as well as practice initiatives. We are committed to fostering a resilient and healthy police service, empowering our members to both thrive personally and professionally. You're going to hear this a few times throughout my presentation here, but really embedding a trauma-informed model with Member Support Unit ensures policing-related stress and cumulative exposure are proactively addressed with a strong emphasis on psychological safety and early effective support through a member's career. This approach moves the organization from a reactive, incident-based support to a proactive, strength-based model that strengthens our member wellness, organizational resilience, and long-term retention. Under the leadership of Superintendent Paul Kaczynski, We are under Executive Services. I am the manager. Again, my name is Brandy Sand. And currently, right now, we are hiring, and thank you for the board for supporting, 2 additional mental health clinicians. We hope to have them onboarded by April 2026, so shortly. We also have 3 constables. One is an overflow constable right now and a clerk. So at this time, we have 5 members in our member support unit supporting our program operations. Our program goal is to really to enhance that member well-being, resiliency, and organizational trust. Again, by doing this through trauma-informed policing principles with internal member support structures, ensuring early, safe, and effective support through their police life cycle. I'll just share that the CACP in 2017 to 2019 came forward and took trauma-informed principles and created a framework. In 2024, so just a couple of years ago, Ontario and Quebec were the first first provinces to implement trauma-informed policing. Under this framework, there are 6 police services that piloted implementing these principles, and I'm happy to share that we are taking this framework and implementing it throughout our organization, starting with our member support. These principles are really looking at fostering safety, trustworthiness and transparency, empowerment, choice, taking a strength-based approach, ensuring our peer and professional supports are present, being collaborative with shared decision-making, and really pulling on culture, occupation, and organizational awareness. We've implemented those processes through support from the recruitment to the retirement. So looking at the life cycle of our members. We look at them from early intervention when they first start with us, through active service. If they were off, having recovery and then coming back, return to work, through our reintegration program, and then transitioning into retirement. The programs that we offer, those are our new officer wellness evaluations and our safeguarding program. We are now excited to share that member support and our disability management team are working collaboratively. So anyone who's on an extended leave, that's parental or maternal or non-occupational health, are also coming back and getting support through member support through that transition back into the workplace. Our reintegration program has always had a return to work part of that. We've now extended it to our civilians, and we have added an additional constable trained in reintegration to allow this to be embedded and actually work with more members than we have in the past. Our peer support team has actually been really established well this last year. We now have 23 trained in critical incident stress management, and by the end of 2026, they will all be trained in suicide care. We've implemented our peer support team within our early intervention, and right now piloting with one of our members in our communications unit being able to track the amount of contacts that the peer team has with maintaining confidentiality and privacy. Our spiritual care has been changed. Historically, it was called the chaplaincy program. We've now changed it to spiritual care, and we are looking to expand, really enforcing that trauma-informed principle of looking at culture across Niagara and ensuring that we're well represented to support all members based on their gender, race, sexuality, and religious or faithful backgrounds. Our early intervention program is the program that alerts us. This could be from a supervisor reaching out, asking for care, for support for one of their members, to an individual anonymously asking for support through our anonymous portal, to us actually activating a follow-up based on a critical incident. Our wellness unit, as you shared, that we actually have the 8-week challenge is going really well. It's one of our highest participation rates. We were a little bit lower last year, but we've come back on strong with this. I see the muffins and the donuts, and I restrained, but I did grab water, thank you. We had 8 engagement activities that included our members and our families. And historically, we only had 8, and we had low family engagement. This year, we had over 200% increase in family engagement. Really excited about that. and our psychoeducation, taking a training and family-focused education session. We are now offering post-OPC family nights, bringing further information to our families and our members. We really started looking at data last year, getting cleaner, understanding it, and analyzing it. We took some qualitative and quantitative data and we understood it and then implemented some changes this year. I will go through what those changes are. We then took those implementations and reevaluated for 2025. The member feedback really was looking for, again, future funding positions in the unit to benefit all members. We historically had 3 members. That was a staff sergeant overseeing by an inspector and 2 constables. In 2024, we implemented 2 clinicians, and then 2025, of course, we've expanded to 3 constables. Now we'll have 2 clinicians in 2026. We've also said one of our feedbacks was someone as a 20-year veteran would like to have a check-in as well. We did notice that when we were on board in 2024, there was a lack there of providing member wellness through a check-in system throughout all members. It really focused on those that were in specialty units. And so we've actually just started in 2026 a pilot, so our retirement integrated support and evaluations. We are now receiving anyone who's coming through the next 2 years of retirement an alert, and we're offering them a wellness check-in to really prepare them for when they're off-boarded within the service. Another feedback that we had here was that they wanted our families to be more connected. So I did share we have more additional resources, but again, with the support of Superintendent Kaczynski, our executive leadership team, and from yourself, we are being supported now by the IACP New Family Support Program. We've just started this implementation, which will be a whole program dedicated to families supporting our members. I really just want to highlight some of the successes. As the manager of the program, I am looking to be at 80% minimum. So you'll see here I have not hit that. I want to acknowledge it, but I do want to share that the awareness of our services is quite high. 77% of our members do agree, strongly or just agree, that they are aware of the services we provide. What they've used is quite high in the area of safeguarding, clinical support, that's including walk-in sessions, requesting to sit down for information and referrals to our community, and also attending our wellness initiatives for families. The areas of improvement are, of course, our spiritual care, our reintegration, and our new officer wellness evaluations. We do expect these rates to be quite high, as what affected this year was losing a clinician and having a vacancy there. So really it did take an impact a little bit around the utilization of our services. Our accessibility is 68% high, where people feel like the process of accessing us was clear. So that's how to use the booking page, how to find us, where we're located, and such. And so we are looking again to increase that. We've had more of a private presence in our community, attending briefings, workshops, and actually with our overflow officer walking through all the units to give information and just to say hello. And the availability. This is the response to our members. So 76 do agree that they feel that they can access support services, even though with the workload, we are responsive to requests. We're quite excited about this. And then just general impact on wellness. So we have 57% feel that they have felt supported when they've accessed the support services. It had a positive impact on their well-being. 78% feel that our response was professional and respectful. 72 feel that the unit makes more of a support to the member within their service. So overall, we are supporting their wellness. 64% that it contributes positively to the overall culture of the wellness of the service. And 75% would recommend our services to a colleague or a family member. I highlight at the bottom there a couple stars. It would be nice to see them attend briefings more often and quicker follow-ups from the call. This is from the feedback that we did in November to all of our members. We have now started actively following up with response is within 4 hours of a critical incident. We have a new alert system that comes from our communication unit and an on-call schedule that's now being used. And we now have our officers attending briefings and certainly attending on scene at critical incidents. Other areas that I want to highlight is that we do have a prompt response. We're professional demeanor. We give them guidance and good information. We're supporting their families. We're passionate about what we do, and we're providing a safe place. That was all members' feedback from 2025. Do you have any questions specifically for me that I can answer for you?
Member McKendrick, if you got a question. Member Gibson.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for the presentation, Brandy.
Yes.
Wellness is such a, just a comment more than a question. Wellness is such an important part of policing, for sure. Not just the physical aspect of it, but it contributes massively to mental health. And I know our chief himself is a regular in the gym working out, and all the way down to the constables, junior constables. It's an important thing, and we should encourage everybody to stay physically fit because it adds very much to our mental fitness and our ability to do our jobs. So it's a great program. Keep going, and we fully support it. Thank you.
I appreciate that, Member Gibson. I do want to share something important that I didn't put in my presentation. We now added a new pillar of member support in its physical element. So we're taking a biopsychosocial, physical, spiritual approach, which means we're focusing biologically on our physical health, our mental health, our social health, as well as our spiritual health. So thank you for addressing that. We actually have a whole new pillar that we're working with around physical health.
Member McKendrick.
Thank you, through you, Chair. Thank you for the presentation, Brandy. And I was just going to say, good to see the ongoing evaluation. I know you're skilled in data and evaluation, but also following up on the recommendations and taking concrete actions to evolve the program. So really great to see the continued expansion and the inclusion of family and the ongoing evaluation. So thank you for the work you do.
Thank you. I think that's the hardest part is the implementation and sustainability, and that was our focus, so thank you.
Vice Chair Kiyokyo.
Thank you, Chair. Again, thank you for your presentation. Just one question I do have. I see a lot of percentages here. What were the total amount of people that actually utilized the service? Do you have that number?
I do. That's a great question. I did provide it in our board report, so we can maybe circulate that again, or I can go through it all right now. What would be the preference for each program? Should I go through all the stats individually or share it again through the board report?
Just in general, I mean, you can
Just
share
in general? Yeah,
just
okay,
in
yeah.
general,
So
you
let
can
me go
share it.
through a little bit with it to give you some insight. So we had, for an example, in our reintegration program, 202 contacts, and we had 57 people go through that. So that includes individuals that have been off for officer-involved shootings or difficulties in the workplace, occupational, non-occupational, coming back into the workplace. We did 80 new officer wellness evaluations. So those aren't currently serving, those are coming out of OPC. We safeguarded 116. We have over 300 members to safeguard. So that was a third, and that was because of the vacancy of a mental health clinician and just work capacity. We're happy to say that we've almost caught up, and we're now, once this was done in December, we only had 116. We're over 200 now. And then critical incidents. So we have attended 23. We've put on 23 group debriefs. Those are high-intensity debriefs involving high-frequency trauma for the individuals that are through the epicenter of the critical incident. So that's not how many members, that's how many incidents we responded to. And that was an increase of 283% this year. And then our early intervention. So that's our reach-outs, catching people, hearing that maybe something is happening professionally, personally, going through an investigation, or just having difficulties. We've had over 1,100, so 1,139 proactive check-ins where we're alerted and we respond to our members. And then we've had over 198 walk-ins with myself, so individuals showing up at my door asking for support. We have the 23 members in our peer trained. We had 440 hours from our chaplains. That's ride-alongs, that's clinical support, attending ceremonies, held 9 initiatives and 20 different presentations. So does that answer your question around the volume?
Yeah, no, it does. It
Thank you.
kind of gives me an oversight of how important your, the service that you provide
Wonderful.
to our people. So I thank you for that. I also want to thank you. I know the chief spoke about attending the Welland event there, talking to the residents that went through that experience with that incident a month ago. And I appreciate you being there as well and offering your service to the people there, because I think they were listening very well as you were speaking. It was an excellent presentation, and I thank you for offering that to the people. It was very much needed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Kirkir. Any more questions or comments? Well, I just want to thank you for that presentation and thank you for the work that you're doing with the Wellness Unit.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, we're going to move to consent agenda items number 9, and we're going to, oh, sorry, thank you. Oh, we got to moved by Member Steele and seconded by Member McKendrick that the presentation be received. All in favor? Seeing none opposed, motion is carried. Thanks, Steele. Okay. Consent agenda item number 9. We're going to move items 9.1 to 9.26 in block. Any questions or comments from board members? It's okay, take your time.
Madam Chair, sorry. Just 9.3, the downtown St. Catharines. I just had, maybe, just in regards to, I think it's just in regards to the letter that we received from Mayor Cisco. I know you provided a response to that. Can you just give us an overview of what we are looking at for the city of St. Catharines, for the mayor and the businesses downtown? Just a brief overview. It is an excellent report, I see that, but I just, the people that have questions, this should show where we're at with it, where the police service is at with that.
Thank you, through you, Chair. Thank you for your question, Vice Chair. As you reference, the board and my office received written correspondence from Mayor Cisco whereby he detailed concerns faced by many of the businesses in downtown St. Catharines. As a result of that letter, we prepared correspondence answering the specific questions that he asked. And in addition to that, we have identified a date to attend his city council meeting in person. In that meeting, we will discuss the contents of the letter and we will provide a broader overview of the crime rates and trends in St. Catharines more broadly, and then specific to the downtown core. We have identified it as a hotspot, which is a location with high crime area. And there we will talk about some of our efforts to mitigate crime in the short and medium term. I can also share with the board that I'm aware that yesterday there was a meeting with the Business Improvement Association, BIA, whereby our members attended. Our detachment commander, Inspector Rose, I believe Staff Sergeant Bootsma was also present, whereby they talked about some of the efforts that are taking place on the street right now. And in addition to the BIA, I understand that some of the city councilors were also there. So the feedback that I've received is that Inspector Rose and Staff Sergeant Bootsma did a tremendous job representing all of us, addressing all the concerns identified by the citizens, and that they look forward to our attending. And I understand the board chair is also going to join me. But they are looking forward to our attending in person and meeting with the mayor and his council, which we are equally looking forward to.
Great, thank you, Chief. That's great. Great news.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Chief, I have a question on point 92.0 with regards to the hate and bias motivated crimes. Nine two zero. Well, I don't know if it's it's a question and a comment. I just want to say, when I read the report, I was glad to see that there's a lot of training that is happening with our officers with regards to hate and bias-motivated crimes. But my question was with regards to the partners that we're working with, and I think in there we cited victim services. What kind of training are the collaborating partners getting? Would you know if they're getting any training with regards to dealing or supporting victims of hate and bias-motivated crimes, so that they are not, it's almost like using the trauma lens, right? So they are not re-traumatizing victims when they're coming to them.
Thank you for your question, Chair. I don't know that I'm in a position to speak to the training that Victim Services is provided. I can tell you that our service is looking at hate crimes as well, like in terms of our service delivery model, and we are looking at enhancing the role of our sergeant in EDI above and beyond our current capacity. We're fully engaged with the province, but we're looking at how we can do a better job locally as well. And I anticipate you'll see enhancements in the coming months in that unit.
Thank you. Okay, seeing there are no further questions, moved by Member Gibson, seconded by Vice Chair Kiokio, we ask that the information be received. All in favor? Seeing none opposed, motion is carried. Agenda item number 10, 2026 budget recommended program change delays to achieve regional council approved budget. We have a service report that is dated February 20. Chief, did you want to speak to that report at all?
Thank you, Chair. I anticipated that there may be some questions about that and whether or not this report had any impact on our long-term strategy. So if that's the question I anticipated, I think is material to the discussion. So I guess I'm asking the question, I'll provide an answer. I think that if the service and the board looks back over the last two budget cycles, we have made a concerted effort to right-size and modernize our service. You'll recall that in September, we did a presentation, a service delivery presentation to Regional Council, depicting our service delivery, cost drivers, and the delineation between what was mandatory and what was traditional. You will recall that I was joined by Sergeant Mark Eitzen, Staff Sergeant Neville, Inspector Limich, and our clinician, Brandy Sand. Our goal was to provide council a better understanding of our service delivery model, but we did not discuss the actual budget in that meeting. We received positive feedback, and Councillor Secord asked me a question that resonated with me. where he said that council needed to know that I understood the importance of keeping the cost down. Member Steele will recall him in the front row. I shared with him that I'd had discussions with Mayor Redekop and Councillor Whalen, because they were the chair and vice chair of the Finance Committee, that I had met with them in Fort Erie with the chair and vice chair of our board as well. On October 23rd, we did a presentation for this board. While the second slide of the presentation was on the screen, I said the following: over the past year, we have been fully transparent and deliberate on matters related to the budget so that there was no surprises for the board or regional council. By way of background, during our 2025 operating budget presentations, there were several deferrals of program changes, and as a result, we ultimately projected an 11.2% increase for 2026. I then went on to say that last year we made a strategic investment in leadership and community, a reflection of our belief that effective policing begins with strong, visible leadership and meaningful community engagement. I then further stated that our community values trust, transparency, and a modern police service that adapts and leads with accountability. On slide 45, I said that we have seen in the past how election cycles can influence short-term thinking, rather than supporting a more strategic, long-term vision that also allows us to align priorities with the evolving needs of the community. The board ultimately approved a budget of $236 million, or 11.51%, for furtherance to the region, and that was slated for November 27th. In November, we presented to Regional Council. I started the presentation by stating the following: over the past year, with intention, we have been fully transparent on matters related to the budget so that there were no surprises to the Police Service Board or Regional Council. Last year, which would be 2024, during the 2025 budget deliberations, we forecasted our 2026 operating budget at 11.2%. And we updated that forecast in June 2025, this board will remember. I then stated again that last year we made a strategic investment in leadership and community, a reflection of our belief that effective policing begins with strong, visible leadership and meaningful community engagement. After I went through the delivery of the program changes, I referenced the strategic plan and future needs, and I said the following: what you see here are the resources needed to deliver the Police Service Board's strategic plan. We had significant discussions surrounding this slide, which was not meant to alarm, but was an effort to be fully transparent and inform Regional Council of the continued pressures that we face as we right-size our service. They did not represent new needs, they reflect the forecasted demands associated with delivering on our current mandate. I then said in 2026 that work accounts for 74 positions, increasing to 102 in 2027 as more initiatives come online, and 64 in 2028 as programs stabilize. These requirements drive the projected budget increases over the next 3 years: 11.5%, 14.8%, and 10.8%. I pointed out at that time that Council could anticipate continued investment in the front line and additional engagement with the community. I said that we will also examine other areas given the emerging pressures, expectations, and adequacy standards in our commitment to public safety. There will also be continued efforts to right-size civilian staff as we move from organic growth to strategically build and properly support our operations. I then spoke about the impact of what a 3.5% budget would mean for us, which would have ultimately resulted in the elimination of potentially 111 positions. Following the presentation, it was stated that councillors appreciated my having an open door policy. Councillor Height then asked me for clarity about our forecast. And the fact that I had referenced, I'm paraphrasing right now, the numbers that I just shared with you. And I told him that my understanding was he was not approving a multi-year budget, but that we were simply trying to be fully transparent for coming years. On December 11th, the region pushed the budget back and asked the board to consider, as referenced in the report, a reduction. It remains important to me that when I go to council and I state that we have a specific need, that it is truly reflective of our pressures. And in this proposal, the board retains all 74 positions that were requested in November. It simply has a deferral of salary dollars. But there is no this does not mean there's any deviation from our multi-year plan that we've identified to try to right-size the service and enhance our service delivery model. Obviously inclusive of forecasted growth. So my comments, Chair, are that as referenced by the report prepared by Director Rouleau, I think it is our best effort to, as I reflect back on Councillor Secord asking me that question, it resonated with me. It is our best effort to be affordable on one hand, while ensuring that we provide adequate and effective policing for our community. It staggers the positions into the organization, but it does not eliminate the positions coming into the organization, which is not really an impact because we have a multi-year plan anyway. This is not a one-time. Last year, when we went last year, we said we're coming back again next year. When we went this year, we said we're coming back again next year. So I feel this report is an accurate reflection of our best efforts. And I think, obviously I agreed, I'm very thankful for the support of the board. And although it wasn't referenced in item 9.1, one of the items referenced by the Inspector General in the review that is flowing out of the matters related to Toronto is span of control and supervision. With no prodding from the province over the last two budget cycles, this service with the board's support, we have added 25 sergeants, staff sergeants, inspectors, superintendent, deputy chief. We have proactively dealt with an emerging issue with no prodding and not knowing that Toronto matter was coming. So I think the executive leadership team should be, I acknowledge the forward thinking, and I acknowledge the forward thinking in support of the board. Probably more comments than you anticipated, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. No, we needed that information. So the motion on the table is that the board receive and approve the 2026 final operating budget for the Niagara Regional Police Service and board resulting in a total net expenditure before indirect allocations of $236 million and, oh my God, 236,051,521, which represents an 11.11% increase over the approved 2025 operating budget, including the $850,000 in reductions outlined in this report, and submit this report to the Niagara Regional Council for their records. We've got a mover, moved by Member Gibson, seconded by Member McKendrick. But before we move, I would like to ask if any board members have any questions or comments. Yes, Chair, Vice Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Just real quickly, I thank the Chief for this report. It definitely outlines where the $850,000 reduction is taking place, which I appreciate. And it's just right here, straightforward, which I am definitely in favor of that reduction, Chief. So I thank you for the report. I'll be in favor of the report.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Any comments? Yes, Member Gibson.
Yeah, I just want to compliment the senior officers. I think the transparency approach that we're using is absolutely vital to the success of us moving forward. So often, and I'm speculating here, but historically there were, games being played and that sort of thing, and everybody gets suspicious of each other, and well, we're gonna have to ask them to take some more off because I know they're probably, padding it here and there. And I really think that our team, using an absolute transparent, forward-looking system with regional council can only be to our advantage. And I think regional councillor people are starting to recognize that there's no games playing here. It's just straightforward. This is what we need to operate, and I just think it's a great way to go forward. Total transparency, and I just want to compliment our team on that because that's to me a very important thing. So just a comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Gibson. So I'm going to ask again, we've moved by Member Gibson and seconded by Member McKendrick. If there are no further questions, all in favor? Seeing none opposed, motion is carried. We have a service report on financial variance overview for the year ending December 31, 2025, moved by Member Gibson and seconded by Member McKendrick. Any questions or comments from the board? Chief?
I have no questions. Thank you.
So we asked to move that the subject of the approval to the approval by the Regional Council of the Consolidated Regional Year-End Transfer Report. The board approved the following transfers: 18,000, right? 18,130 to the Ontario Police Video Training Alliance, or PVTA, Reserve Fund, which results from a surplus in the current year operations in accordance with the Regional Municipality of Niagara Reserve and Reserve Funds Policy CF013, and $417,174.53 from the Police Contingency Reserve Fund to fund one-time 2025 expenditures related to the implementation of the Community Safety and Policing Act. All in favor? Seeing none opposed, motion is carried. Agenda item 10.3, access to City of St. Catharines closed-circuit television cameras. Memorandum of Understanding. We have a service report moved by Member Vice Chair Kiokio and Member Steele that the board approve the Memorandum of Understanding between the City of St. Catharines and Niagara Regional Police Service titled Access to Closed-Circuit Television Cameras is appended to the report. Any comments or questions from the board? Seeing none, all in favor? Seeing none is opposed, motion is carried. 10.4, Axon Public Safety Canada Incorporation, execution of contracts. We have a service report moved by Member McKendrick and seconded by Member Gibson that the board approve the attached quote provided by Axon Public Safety Canada Incorporation for $258,632.15, inclusive of HST, to purchase the Axon FUSUS, a real-time operations platform for a 5-year contract period from June 1, 2026 to May 31, 2030. Any comments or questions from the board? Seeing none, all in favor? Seeing none opposed, the motion is carried. 10.5, another service report on enterprise storage server replacement award of request for tender. Moved by Member Steele and seconded by Member McKendrick, that the board approve the award of request for tender number 2025 T242, enterprise storage replacement for the Niagara Regional Police Service to Onyx Enterprise Solutions Limited in the amount of $2,550,657.12, including HST. Any questions or comments? Yes, Member Gibson.
Thank you, Chair, and through you. It's a pretty good chunk of money. I'm just wondering what the lifespan of this system is ongoing. How many years we'll get out of it, if we know that, or how much, like, is it for 1 year, 2 years? Are we gonna get 5 years out of it?
Yeah, through you, Chair, it's a five-year asset with support and maintenance.
Okay. That's all.
And we usually have a tendency to extend it longer through third-party support after the fact, so we could get up to 7 to 10 years.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, all in favor? As none is opposed, the motion is carried. Another service report on TELUS machine-to-machine wireless services service agreement renewal. Moved by Member Gibson, seconded by Vice Chair Kiokio, that the board approve the renewal of the TELUS service agreement, machine-to-machine wireless service for a 36-month term at an annual cost of $88,356, including HST, and a total contract value of $265,068. I think I'm reading that wrong. $265,068, including HST. Any questions or comments? Yes, Vice Chair Kiokio.
Yeah, just a quick question, Chair. This is all within our budget guideline, right? Within our, what we put in our budget for? Like, this isn't above and beyond our budget?
Through you, Chair, yes, that's correct.
So it's not affecting our budget at all?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
All right, all in favor? Seeing none opposed, motion is carried. A service report on Ontario Police Video Training Alliance 2026 Business Plan. Moved by Member McKendrick and seconded by Member Steele that the board approve the 2026 Ontario Police Video Training Alliance Business Plan. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor? Seeing none opposed, motion is carried. At item 10.8, Police Service Board Bylaw Amendment to Board's Procedural Bylaw. Moved by Member Gibson and seconded by Member Steele, that the board approve an administrative amendment to section 15.3 of the board's procedural bylaw to revise the agenda order of business by moving reports from closed session to precede the motion for closed session meetings as outlined in this report. Any comments or questions? All in favor? And seeing none is opposed, motion is carried. Item 10.9, Police Service Board Bylaw Termination of Probationary Police Officers, Auxiliary Members, Special Constables, and Civilian Members of the Service. Moved by Vice Chair Kiokio and seconded by Member McKendrick, that the board adopt the draft bylaw as appended to this report effective immediately, and further that the board chair and executive director be authorized to make any supplementary administrative amendments to the bylaw that may be required as a result of further clarification or guidance received from the Ministry of the Solicitor General regarding the CSPA and its regulations. Any questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, all in favor? And seeing none opposed, motion is carried. Item 10.8, special fund requests. Before we consider the special fund requests listed under the item 10.10, I would like to remind members of the public that the special fund does not form part of the police operating budget and is separate from the regional tax base. The special fund is a discretionary pool of funds which is used for grants and charitable donations. Disbursements from the fund are made in accordance with guidelines provided in the Community Safety and Policing Act and with Board Bylaw 403/2024, Special Fund Administration Limitations and Guidelines. I will turn over the meeting to Vice Chair Kiokio to assume the chair for the consideration of this item.
Thank you, Chair. So this item is service report dated back February 2nd, 2026, requesting the board approve the following special requests. Galentine's donation drive, $5,000. Tug of war border challenge is $2,000. Ontario Women in Law Enforcement is $2,200. Give to Gain International Women's Day, $903.89. Jillian's Place Breakfast, $1,000. Dodge War Community Throwdown is $600. State of the St. Catharines 150th anniversary is $587.50. Socks for Change is $1,500, and the Toes Niagara 2026 International Women's Day Wellness and Healing Day for survivors of human trafficking is $2,500. Moved by Member Gibson, second by Member Steele, that the board authorize the special fund donations as outlined in the report and approve payment in the requested amounts. Any discussion? Member Steele?
Thanks, Vice Chair. Just, can we separate all of the items so the chair can vote on them and leave the last one for Toes Niagara based
Certainly.
on conflict and allows the chair to vote on the other ones?
Certainly, okay.
Thanks.
We can do that. Any other discussion? So we'll vote on the first,
8.
how many?
8.
Okay, we'll vote on the first 8. All those in favor? That carries. And the second is the Toes Niagara 2026 International Women's Day Wellness. Any discussion? Call the question. All those in favor? That carries. Thank you. Back to you, Chair.
Thank you, Vice Chair. We move on to any other business. Do any board members have any new business? Chief?
No, thank you.
And item number 12, reports from closed session. Special Investigations Unit. We have a service report moved by Member Steele, seconded by Vice Chair Kiokio, that in accordance with board direction, the above noted in-camera reports be made available to the public. So the reports are case number 25 OCI 107, incident of March 18, 2025, and case number 25 OSA 291, incident of June 16, 2025. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor? And seeing none opposed, motion is carried. And we ask for a motion to move to closed session meetings, moved by Member Gibson and seconded by Member McKendrick. The closed session reports and recommendations are considered under the authority of the Community Safety and Policing Act and Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act in accordance with the following authorities: CSPA Section 44.2B, CSPA Section 44.2E, CSPA Section 44.2J, CSPA Section 44.2K, and CSPA Section 44.2I, and MFI PPA Section 8. Then we're going to take a 5-minute break, and then we'll proceed with the confidential agenda. Oh, sorry. Okay, all moved by Member McKendrick and seconded by Member Steele. All in favor? Seeing none is opposed, motion is carried, and we'll now take a 5-minute break and proceed. Are you going away? I call the meeting to order. We have now completed our closed session and we've moved back into the public session for adjournment. Moved by Member McKendrick, seconded by Vice Chair Kiokio, that the Niagara Regional Police Service Board meeting be adjourned. All in favor? Seeing none opposed, the motion is carried. The meeting is adjourned.